Hi everybody, Revolver84 here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts on the Final Fantasy VII demo released for the general public this week. Now, for those of you under the age of 30, Final Fantasy VII is considered by many to be one of the best video games of all time. I'd argue Final Fantasy X was better, but I think I'm in the minority of that opinion. Final Fantasy VII was released in 1997 to critical acclaim. It took 4 discs for the complete game, was epic and showed just how big games could be with an interesting arrangement of characters, usage of music and story arc. If you think of the impact Skyrim had on the last generation, you will go some way to understanding just how important the game was at the time. 23 years later, and Square Enix has remade this groundbreaking game for a new time and audience. It's important to point out that this isn't a remaster, which has already been done. Remasters just take the original game, tweak the shading, tidy up the audio files a little bit, port it to the latest game's console, and hope for a quick cash grab from people who want to benefit from a little bit of nostalgia. This is a complete rebuilding of the game, bringing it up to date for modern audiences. If you played Resident Evil 2 last year, you'll appreciate the difference and understand what I'm talking about. You're essentially playing a new game, but one as close to the original plot, layout, and character progression as you can get. Obviously, the biggest difference is the way it looks. At the time of the original, it looked like square blocks moving over a static painted screen. Now, in the remaster, the environment is, the remake, the environment is vivid, interactive, richly full of colour, graphically very impressive, holding its own against any other game of this generation. That cartoon-esque look to the characters is still there, providing an ease of access and appeal for younger players, while still providing recognition for our favourite characters for those of us who aren't younger than 30. The next big difference is the combat. So obviously, as you can see, back in the day, which might seem like the equivalent of writing with a quill and ink for some of the viewers that's watching this video, the combat was turn-based, like playing a game of chess. So if you think Pokemon, you take your time to work out what your next 3, 4, 5 moves would be, and the characters take it in turns to perform an action until the combat is over. When the series moved combat away from turn-based to live action, sort of like Final Fantasy XII for the PS2, I completely fell out of love with the Final Fantasy series, as I just couldn't get away with the combat. And in truth, I haven't returned to the Final Fantasy series since. I'll probably give 15 a try at some point if I ever see it on like offer somewhere, but I've never returned to it. This game might bring me back. Although classic combat is still an option available for selection, the normal combat is a mix of the two forms. It's live action, moving the character, smashing the attack button and manually dodging out of the way while you press the buttons to stop combat completely, so you can select different characters in your party, so you can scroll through inventory for an item to use, or select a special ability like the limit breaks, which make a welcome return here and still look class. Now, from what I've seen, it still looks and feels like a Final Fantasy RPG. It's got hit points, special abilities, character classes, large environments, and interesting storytelling using interaction between the different characters. For the brief time I have spent playing the demo since its release, I've fully enjoyed this up-to-date retelling of a story that grabbed me as a child and took me on an adventure that stayed with me for my whole life. And for what I've seen, I'm expecting the same thing with the remake. As always with modern games, companies can't help ruining old games though. I'm thinking of the releases like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like slamming in microtransactions where there shouldn't be, splitting the customer base by not selling all the DLC content with the remade games, stuff like that. You know what they're like. We're thinking EA, we're thinking Ubisoft, the masters of it, the ones that love ruining your memories of games. My biggest concern for potential damage with this one that I've heard of is that there is rumours that Final Fantasy VII will be episodic. So by episodic, I mean like what Life is Strange is like, with the user expected to pay per episode. Now, what I would hate to think would be what would stop them. There'd be nothing stopping them from charging like a lower price for the first few episodes to get people into the story, get people engaged, get people addicted to the game, and then ramping the prices up. And if you've played 40 hours, 50 hours of a game, you want to see it through at the end, so you'll pay that little bit extra money, and it sort of feels like it could have the potential for highway robbery, really. So although I reserve my judgment of the game until full release as always, so far I'm hopeful that, like Resident Evil 2, which I thought was a massive hit and a brilliant example of how to do a complete rebuilding of a game, this game's proof that old dogs can still learn new tricks, and I'll be putting my pennies aside in anticipation for this one coming out. Cannot wait to play it. Thanks very much for watching. Didn't forget to subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Just for a bit of FYI as well, I've also started a Twitch stream on Revolver_84. So it's not the normal Revolver84, it's Revolver_84. Long story, but that's my Twitch stream as well. So don't forget to try and check that out. Right, all the best. Take care. Ta-da.
Find cover and hunker down.
Again and again and again.
Strike now, before it fires again. Still up for it? All right. It's on you.